Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very, very accomplished professional from the world of music, from Bogota, Colombia, Andre Borda. Andre, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Asutosh. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
It's an honor.
Thank you. Andre is a Grammy and six-time Latin Grammy winner, and you can see all his Grammy awards behind him. He's a recording engineer, immersive sound creator, and mixer. He's the head studio manager and engineer of Carlos Vives Studio in Bogota, Colombia. And he's a multi-Latin Grammy and Grammy nominations. So, Andre, let's start by asking you, how did you first get interested in audio engineering and sound design?
Perfect. Yeah, let's begin for that. It's the start. Well, for my case, it was very simple actually. The by practicing guitar with my friends and playing guitar and the songs that we used to listen in that time was the connection for music from my side. I started to play guitar and I was very curious about how to record myself. I wanted to see how the quality of what I was recording, how was it? I wanted to be impressed about getting to that quality of how I listen into albums and CDs. So that's when everything started to appear. I started to buy an interface, a computer, a cable, a guitar, and that gave me more knowledge of how I wanted to implement that thing. So it started like that, and I was curious about movies and how everything was done in the movie business, and so everything just started to just flash more.
Amazing.
And that was it. That was it. And when I got the chance to decide what I wanted to do for my side, it was very directed decision of, hey, I want to dedicate my life to sound. It would be a very good. But that was pretty much the case.
Yeah.
By learning guitar.
How wonderful. And tell me a little more about your own journey to becoming a six-time Latin Grammy and Grammy Award winner.
Sure. Well, my journey, I have been jumping from different countries. I was born in Colombia. Then when I was 7, I went to Mexico. Then I went to LA. Then I came back to Mexico. Then I came back. Now I came back to Colombia. So I think the journey has been quite amazing because I've been opening doors in different places. I have the opportunity of working with different people in other countries, different mindset, different work, different artists, like that. But everything started because, like I said, I was very interested in sound. And obviously I studied in Mexico for a little bit of years. Then I went to LA. I studied more, and by opening different doors, it's amazing how network. And by really being there in the moment, by really sacrifice your time and really want to be and where you really want to be, obviously, everything just started to click and opportunities became more accessible. And I started to open doors that obviously those open more and more and more. And obviously that came like Latin Grammys, recognitions, working with top producers, engineers around the world. So that obviously started to build more and more and more. And I learned that pretty much you have to open doors so everything just expands more and more. So the journey has been quite amazing because I've been working with tons of people, tons of musicians, engineers, producers, and I've been learning from everybody so I can construct and build my own way of creating sound. So it's been an enrichment, a delightful journey for myself. It has been tough, obviously, but it's very it's an amazing journey for my side because I didn't expect to win 3 Latin Grammys when I was 26 years old. So that for me it was a quite like something in my life saying, hey, you're doing the right thing. You have to keep on going. You have to build more, and it's something that you don't expect. And in my side, it has happened a lot of times that it's something that you don't believe yourself, and you have to just like grasp the idea and say, hey, it's amazing how everything is happening.
Correct.
So yeah, but it's a journey that it has it doesn't finish. It's something that
Mm.
you can
Oh,
constantly you have
absolutely.
to be building
I
up.
agree.
But yeah.
But also tell me, how have all these recognitions uh, impacted your own work and the opportunities you've got?
Well, the recognitions obviously is something that you don't expect. When I got the chance of winning the first three Latin Grammys when I was 26 years old, and
Mm.
later on, like 6 months apart, my first Grammy, for me was like I don't believe this, but
Hmm.
obviously it's something that is happening. You have to
Correct.
learn, you have to take advantage of it,
Mm.
and obviously in recognitions, the way that I see it is that recognitions open doors. They
Mm.
they give you a little bit more the field so you can talk to other people to open more jobs, more creativity for yourself.
Mm.
And it's something that obviously it gives you more representation of what you're doing, but
Mm.
obviously like a professional sports or whatever, if you win something the next day, you have to keep on practicing,
Mm.
prepare yourself. For my side, it's the same thing. Like, hey, yeah, I won Latin Grammys, that's amazing, but you have to keep on going. You have to keep on opening more and more and
Mm.
more.
Mm.
So for my side, it just gave me more creativity in what I need to do and how I have to change, because obviously my mentality of being an audio engineer changed completely 10 years ago from right now.
Mm.
So
Mm.
the world is changing,
Mm.
technology is changing, the work, everything is changing. So you
Very
have to
interesting.
adapt yourself.
Sure.
And by using these recognitions, it gives you more authority of what you're doing, and you can
Correct.
have more confidence in what you're doing with other
Mm.
people, especially
Mm.
with clients, with artists, etc.
Absolutely. Well said. Andre, you've also been acclaimed for your work in immersive audio.
Exactly.
Could you explain what that is and why is it so important in today's music industry?
Sure. Well, immersive sound is something that it started to appear like 10 years ago, but obviously it was not so big. But immersive sound right now is currently opening the next path into the future of sound.
Hmm.
So we have been listening to stereo sound for stereo monitor since years ago, because
Hmm.
obviously we're humans. We have the right ear, we have the left ear. We're always going to be listening to stereo. But
Hmm.
right now, currently, the technology gave us the opportunity and the tools of
Hmm.
hearing sound in a different way, in
Hmm.
a different sensation, spatial sound, where you can hear sound not so much like in a front side and left and right. You can now feel it in a more surround way, using altitude, distance, spatial sensations. You can put sounds here and there and back.
Hmm.
So you give the opportunity to people and clients and the user to really expand the knowledge of creativity of sound.
Hmm.
Um, Putting a person in a place where you have different speakers around you, like in a cinema or in a studio, but also now you can do it with headphones.
Hmm.
So give that sensation to people using headphones. It's tremendous because now you can have more creativity in
Hmm.
different ways, in publicity, in commercials, in cinema, in films, in albums. So this expands completely the way you can treat sound.
Hmm.
So for my side, I'm so passionate about sound, because you can take sound and take it to a different levels where people
Correct.
can really feel sound in a
Hmm.
in a different way and put themselves in the spot. So I'm very passionate about it. I just created my company that is called Emergent like 2 years ago, and
Hmm.
I'm currently doing that, creating experiences where people really can feel sound in a more immersive way
Hmm.
and just have a different path. It's not exchanging, or it's not like
I
taking
understand.
things differently,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's creating different paths of future in sound. So
Fantastic.
it's pretty much that. So it's
Wonderful.
it's it's quite amazing.
Wonderful. And when you look at new uh, people who are getting into business as audio engineers, what would you say are some of the common mistakes a lot of them make?
Sure. Well, obviously, when we're studying in college, and we have the mentality that we think that we're already professionals, and that we
Correct.
think that, okay, we're gonna go outside of school, everything's gonna happen. I'm gonna work with tremendous artists. I'm gonna build my curriculum like that.
Mm.
And people tend to think that everything is gonna be fast. And the
Mm.
problem is that you really need to enjoy the moment and to create a sense of credits and expertise and confidence, so you can really prove to other people and to clients, and obviously to people that are the ones that are going to give you work, that you have been there. So you really need to understand that when you go out of college, especially in these careers where you have to work, you're from the bottom to the top. You really need to be there. You have to really to prove to yourself and to other people that you need to be there to learn, not to just say, hey, I have my decisions. And no, you have to learn. You have to learn from the
Correct.
pros. You have to learn from the bottom to just start building up your ways, because it's not about copying other professionals. It's about learning from other people and other people, so you
Correct.
can start building your abilities in your own way. So people that tend to have that mentality, they're just it's people that obviously it's going to be more harder for them to open more doors. And the problem is that the attitude that you're presenting to other people, it's actually even more and more important than the knowledge about using tools or technology or whatever. That's amazing, but if your attitude doesn't prove the same thing, it's going to be a problem. So people that don't have that attitude and build that attitude of being a professional is just, it's going to be so hard.
Well said. Well
So
said.
so yeah, I think that
Yeah.
is something that professionals need
Great
to
response.
and
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, exactly.
And who would you say are some of your biggest inspirations in the industry, and how have they
Well,
influenced your work?
yeah, for sure. There are a lot of people that I've been worked at that I say, hey, wow, this
Mm,
genius, and
mm,
musicians, producers, and everything. But I would say my side for what I like,
mm,
Hans Zimmer. It's Hans Zimmer in the part of movies. He's an amazing, talented composer that for me is just mind blowing how he
mm,
creates music for films. Um, I have been always wanted to work with him, but obviously it's hard to get to that
mm,
level. But I hope that someday. Natalia Lafourcade was the one that presented me the opportunity of winning my first Latin Grammys. For me, it was a pleasure, because to be with a woman that represented Mexican music and take it to
mm,
a whole new level, it was just mind blowing.
mm,
And because of her, a lot of things opened for me in the future. And in my case, in Colombia, I
mm,
got the chance of working with Carlos Vives, that he's one of the top
mm,
artists of Colombia. That he's the one that changed completely the fusion of different genres in Colombian music, and
mm,
he was the one that exploited that and created the connection of Colombian music into the world.
mhm,
So being from my side, that you say Carlos Vives is like somebody that from little you've been listening to music from very young, and to say, hey, 25 years later, you're the engineer of him, and being
mm.
capable of being in the studio with him, working in his music, in his ideas and everything is just wow. It just
Amazing.
so it's inspiration every day,
Yeah, yeah,
constantly.
yeah.
So I
Fantastic.
would say those people
I
are the ones
agree.
that constantly
Yeah, yeah.
just opens my mind.
Fantastic. And my next question for you is that how has the audio and audio engineering industry changed and evolved since you first
Yeah, wow,
started?
it's
And where do you see it
right.
going in
Yeah,
the future?
it's yeah. It's amazing how it had changed. Obviously, the culture, the industry, and technology, everything starts combining. Though obviously the world is changing constantly.
Mm,
In the part of the entertainment and the music and films, obviously, because also affects the part of movies.
mm,
Um, it changed completely for my side, because when I started to study, it was the last stage of CDs. So the creating albums before that, it was completely different. The budgets, the way, the communication, the
mm,
recording, the studio work, everything was in a different way.
mm,
When digital platforms started to appear, streaming platforms started to appear, everything changed, I'd say.
mm,
A lot of the studios start to close. The different budgets. People are obviously they're not now focused on listening to an album. They're listening to one single. So people are starting to hear different music from other people, but on only one song.
mm,
So everything changed. So in my side, I needed to adapt in a different way, because obviously work, it just started to go in a different direction.
mm,
So digital platforms obviously can create the opportunity to take your work to different countries around the world that maybe in the past you couldn't do it.
mm,
But obviously that has also negative impact in how you work every day, constantly works.
Mm.
So for my side, the creativity, it doesn't stop. You have to constantly be willing to work in different fields in the industry, like publicity, commercials, and cinema, because obviously the work is changed, and that change for musicians, change for producers, technology now that you can have the opportunity of working in this in you don't have to work in a studio to create
Correct.
music nowadays.
Correct.
So everything changed for
Mm.
that. So
Very well
it's
said.
hard, but you have to adapt. That's also being a
Correct.
professional, is that you need to adapt.
Wonderful. So, since you use the word adapt, my next question is on adapt. Can you share an instance when you had to really think outside the box to adapt and solve a problem during a recording session?
Yeah, well, I have tons of
Give me any one
because
example.
at the end of the day, being an engineer in the studio is a
I know.
person that needs to resolve problems
Correct.
constantly. That's
Mm.
that's the main focus of being an engineer in the studio, because
Yeah.
yeah, you can work in consoles and have a lot of knobs and use of musicians and whatever, and that's
Mm.
perfect. But at the end of the day, you have to become a tool for the artists, the producers, the person that are the ones that are working in the studio. You
Correct.
have to be a tool for them to really become to have a better vibe in the studio, and they
Mm.
can work constantly more direct.
Mm.
So for my side, I can make those difference in very different ways,
Mhm.
from editing very fast, or having a better decision of how to work with the musician or with the
Mm.
artist, or
Mm.
recording, or applying like different psychology to the person to say, hey, work in a different way, try to do
Mm.
this, try to do that. Or maybe sometimes people don't think that I'm recording, and I just really record it, and they think that they didn't do it and they did it well, and they say,
Mm.
hey, you already have it, so
Mm.
you don't have to think in how to resolve that problem, because I already did it for you. So there are a lot of tons of
Yeah.
ways
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
sometimes just by saying something different, people react to that, and they work better in the studio, and that's specifically what you need to be for a
Fantastic.
recording engineer.
Fantastic. And one question that I've often wondered is that, when you work with really top artists, uh, how do you balance the act of maintaining the artist's vision and providing your own expertise and input?
Right, great question. I would say that you have to treat people the same way as others. I have been
Mhm.
working with people that has a lot of fame, and people that don't have fame. And I sometimes pressure and a lot of things happen in the moment. But I
Hmm.
say you have to treat people the same way. It doesn't matter who is it. It could be the Pope, it could be whatever, it doesn't matter. You
Hmm.
have to really treat people the same way and
Hmm.
apply the same techniques for their music and their participation in the studio. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter. So by applying that to them and to adapt to what they really want every day, it's something that just keeps the vibe and the energy and the positive thinking in the studio
Hmm.
just constantly rebooting and rebooting, and that gives the artist and the producers and whatever in the studio the opportunity of having a great moment in the studio,
Hmm.
and that is the key to that, because the
Correct.
music just creates because of being in a place where you really want to be. So
Hmm.
by working with people, I want to be like 10 steps before them,
Hmm.
and giving them all the tools and the positive thinking, everything, so they can work better. So
Hmm.
it doesn't matter if it's a person that is just starting or a person that already has a mind-blowing career in music. It doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Apply the same techniques so people have tendency of work better with you.
Hmm.
And that's something that I always do for everybody. And that's something
Hmm.
that works perfect.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I have time for two or three more questions for you.
Sure.
What would you say, Andre, is some of the most innovative techniques or tools you have used in the last few
Uh,
years?
Yeah, well, obviously the technology is mind-blowing nowadays. We have a lot of plugins, to digital plugins and digital the
Hmm.
things that we use in programs
Yeah.
that are completely just changing the whole picture. It's
Hmm.
the whole tendency, the whole everything, because now you can transform sound, you can have better things, more perfect in other ways. You can edit, you can change, you can create, and it's just 10, 20 years ago we have little tools. Nowadays we have tons of tools that we can
Hmm.
use for sound. and for everything, for post-production, for pre-production, for recording. There's a lot of mics that nowadays you don't have to buy a mic that it's like $10,000.
Yeah.
Now you can have a mic that it's just more accessible for you. For
Mm.
the immersive sound, feeling sound, how you can mold it and take it to different places and everything is just, it's something that you say, wow, it's amazing. How can you take one thing, traduce it to this place, take it to this, take it to that, and just keep them. So it gets better and better and better. So tools like that are changing the game completely, and applying that to visual arts, to different ways, it just expands creativity in a whole new level. So having that opportunity right now in this time is just amazing, because you can get the picture of working better. Obviously, gets a little bit more difficult because you have more competition. But at the end of the day, you have more tools. So that gives you a better way to do things in a more personal way.
Correct. Well said. And, we spoke about immersive audio a few minutes ago, but what do you think immersive audio will play in the future of entertainment, such as virtual reality or augmented reality?
Right. Great question. Yeah, perfect. Now that nowadays we're seeing the artificial intelligence tools for every field in the world, pretty much. For sound, it's amazing how everything is just evolving. Now you can create things that you can never ever accomplish. So immersive sound, it has to go with hand to hand with what is happening with visual representations, and obviously with games, with goggles like Apple is doing with Vision and everything, by creating the opportunity of putting some glasses and say, hey, I'm now in New Delhi. How can you create sound that you can feel that you are in New Delhi? Like you have to really put that into account, because you have to create that sensation that you're really in the spot.
Correct.
So sound, it has to be like that way, and that's why immersive sound it's going now, because obviously you can have a lot of technology for visual and create amazing things, but at the end of the day, if for that amazing technology you don't apply the same level of sound for that, everything is going to be unbalanced. So I think pretty much immersive sound is going to be the one that is going to take you to the next step, the next level of future sound for expanding, and to really feel that you can be in a place in just 1 second.
Amazing. And my last question to you, Andre, and this is for so many people who will listen to our conversation.
Awesome.
What advice do you have for someone interested in pursuing a career in audio engineering or sound design?
Sure. Well, I think you have to be passionate. I think if you really want to be and create all of this, you have to be really interested and have that ability of saying, I want to be there. I want to create. If you don't create, you're not building anything, and obviously you're not expanding yourself. So I would say, if you're interested in this, really try to understand that you really want to create. You want to be in the spot. You really want to open doors. Don't be afraid of opening this door, and this one can take you to a different place in the world. This one can take you to another. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But really, you have to really be willing to be there, and to start being like gratitude to yourself, very grateful to yourself that you're in a spot where you can learn. Try to learn as much as possible so you can apply it to yourself and start learning more and more and more, and use the tools, use the new technology that you have. Try to impress other people of what you're doing, so other people can see that you have the talent to resolve problems, and at the end they create more. So don't be afraid. It doesn't, if sometimes people are so afraid because maybe they're not going to be a bachelor, they're going to study a bachelor specifically or something like that. So nowadays, with YouTube, with computers, with everything, you can now do it at 18 years old, and you can also do it when you're 50. It doesn't matter.
Correct.
The good thing is that you have to constantly be building and building and building and building.
Well said. Andre, on that note, thank you so much for speaking to me. Thank you for talking to me about so many different aspects of music, sound, audio. For me, this was a tremendous learning experience, because I don't know so much about sound. Thank you for
Yeah,
speaking
it's
to
a
me
completely
about
feel for you, but
completely new
obviously
field for
it's
me.
thank you
And
so much.
thank you for talking to me about so many different new things. Thank you
No,
again.
obviously, anytime. Thank you so
And
much
do
for
keep
being
me
part of.
posted when you get your 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th Grammys.
Yeah, of course. I
And
know someday I'm gonna get more, and obviously I'm gonna tell you
I'm
about
sure
it.
you
And
will. I'm
obviously,
sure.
when
And
yeah,
one
I
day I
hope to
hope
have
you will
the
come and perform in India as well. So
yeah, sure. But thank you so much for expanding and being a tool for knowledge in the world because that's what you're doing, and I'm so proud of being part of this.
thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.